Hi guys, let me introduce myself real quick. I'm Sydney. If you're new here, you probably are, but hello if you're not. Today we're going to be doing a fall TBR video. I don't intend or expect to read all of these books. This is kind of just books that I have on my radar and would like to consider with whatever I pick up. So I've split this up into 3 categories: physical TBR, don't own but want to read, and new releases. Let's just get right into it. We're gonna start with physical TBR because those are the books that I have. Okay, starting off strong with book number 1, which is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Starting off strong because I'm already reading it. I'm really enjoying it. I don't want to why do I blank? I forget words as soon as the camera turns on. I don't want to have too high expectations for how I feel about the book at the end, but with how I'm feeling right now, I feel like there's no way I will end this and not enjoy it or not really love it. But I'm having a grand time going crazy reading this book. But if you don't know, of course, this is The Picture of Dorian Gray, the iconic classic. I'm not really going to give a synopsis, besides the fact that Dorian Gray has a portrait made of him and something happens where instead of him aging, the portrait ages, so he stays youthful and beautiful and gorgeous, but his portrait becomes old and decrepit and terrifying. I haven't gotten to any of that yet. We're just in the beginning stages, but I'm very much enjoying it. I'm very excited to see where this goes. Okay, book number 2 is on my shelf. Let me grab it. It's The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Of course, everyone knows what this is. This is the iconic, the quintessential dark academia novel. I read If We Were Villains last year, loved it, and I've read about 200 pages of The Secret History a few years ago, but I'm gonna try again maybe this fall. I loved If We Were Villains a lot, and I don't know if I'll love The Secret History as much, but I'm just very curious to actually give it another shot and to just I don't know, just get immersed into the writing style, because I really did enjoy the writing style. The pacing was just a little slow for me. This follows a character starting at a new college, and he gets into the Greek program or something like that. Everyone in the class is obsessed with Greek. It's just it's supposed to have commentaries on academia. Of course, it's dark academia, but there is a murder or dead person, and it just has those dark, suspicious mystery vibes to it with the academia setting, which I do enjoy, and characters consumed by their obsession with the academics. I think I could like it. I don't know if it'll be a new favorite, but I do want to give it a shot. I know it's a little long. It doesn't really look like it. Is my bookmark still in there? Okay, next book I did kind of hint at, and that is If We Were Villains by ML Rio. I'm debating doing a reread this year because I loved it so much, and I did read it for a 24-hour readathon, so I did kind of speed through it. I mean, I still took my time with it. I didn't skim it or read through it too quickly, but I loved this book. I loved the writing, I loved the setting, I loved the characters. It is so perfect for the fall. It's a very similar premise to The Secret History. People always say that this is basically The Secret History but with Shakespeare and queer, but I just felt way more sucked into this story than I was with The Secret History when I first tried it. But yes, this is set in a art school where our main character and his friends and his friend group are all a part of the Shakespeare theater program in this school. They put on Shakespeare productions every year. Most of this book, I believe, takes place in the fall, so you have that very, very specific fall setting. There's an amazing scene on Halloween. I love it so much, and I just would love to reread this and actually annotate it and sit down with it and absorb every little second of it. I'd love to re-experience the story and be able to dive into it really deeply. Next is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, I believe is the title. It is, I'm correct, by Heather Fawcett. This is book 2 in the Emily Wilde trilogy. I read the first book last May or something, so it's been over a year since I read the first book. The 3rd book is out, but I really would like to continue with the series. I haven't really been reading a lot of fantasy recently at all, but I would like to continue with this series, and especially this book in particular I think would be great for the fall. I mean, you can already see from the cover. She's gorgeous, she's green, she's got the fall kind of foliage. The first book was very winter setting, and this book I've heard is supposed to be a lot more fall. But the first book is about Emily Wilde, who is a professor or scholar of some sort at Cambridge or something. I don't remember the most about it because it has been over a year since I read it, but she studies fairies. So the first book is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. You kind of follow her through her studies and like learning about the fairies. She's documenting everything. These books are like her journals of her documenting her findings and what she learns about fairies. And she has like an academic rival named Wendell, but their relationship is a little more than that. You know, there's romance that goes on between them. One thing that I really noticed is that this series, or reading the first book, it felt like the Spiderwick Chronicles, but grown up, and I loved the Spiderwick Chronicles as a kid. Next book, we're kind of doing a little bit of a departure from the last few. That is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a horror book, and I do want to get into a little bit more horror, but this one in particular is about our main character is a high school senior who's a hardcore 80s horror fan, so it's going to be very, very focused on like the horror movie genre, and I think it's a little meta in that way. I don't fully know the premise. Well, no, I know the premise is, one, the main character loves horror movies, but there's a serial killer going around in her town. So, sounds really up my alley. I love like a classic horror slasher, and I don't read a ton of horror books. I've read a couple, but I would really, really like to get into Stephen Graham Jones more. I Was a Teenage Slasher, and I actually really enjoyed that. I really would like to read this. Like I said, it's basically supposed to be like a horror slasher in a book. I think I would have so much fun with this. All right, next I'm just surprised I haven't gotten to it yet, and that's Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This is the author of the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, Five Survive, Reappearance of Rachel Price. I've read all of those books, but I went to her book launch event thingy at Barnes & Noble. So I've had this since it released, but I haven't picked it up, but I'm very excited. This is her adult thriller debut. The main character, she is like attacked and hit over the head, and she doesn't die, but whatever damage was dealt to her in that hit is going to result in her dying in 7 days. So in those 7 days, our main character is going to have to figure out who tried to kill her and who is her murderer, because she is going to die. I am very intrigued by that premise, and I really do enjoy Holly Jackson's writing. I'm so curious to see like how she might differ in an adult rating, I guess. But I will say her conclusions have been a little bit disappointing for me in the last few books, or like the last couple of books that I've read of hers. So I'm curious to see how this one ends. Next book, I really don't know if I'll actually get to it, but it is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I have tried reading this in the past. I got 50 pages in. It was a while ago. This is obviously one of his most iconic pieces of work. I have only read Stephen King a couple of times, and it's already been a year since I've done that, but I really haven't delved into his horror yet. I've tried, but I haven't done it yet, and I really would like to try with Pet Sematary. People say that this one is pretty chilling and spooky and terrifying. I think most people know what this is about, but I feel like technically I do also know what it's about, but I feel like the premise is almost a spoiler. Like I feel like going into it not really knowing what's going on is better. Basically, this family moves into a new house and there is a pet cemetery behind their house, something like that. And then there's something with the people who die on the property, something weird happens. I'll leave you with that. You probably know what it's about because, again, this book has been out for years, decades. There have been multiple movies. I know what kind of goes down in this, but I'm curious to see how I feel about it. I don't fully know how I feel about Stephen King's writing yet. Last two books that I'm going to talk about are Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I would like to finish this book because I started it literally right at the beginning of this year, and I've had this arc for almost a year. Obviously the book is out now, but I won this arc in a Goodreads giveaway. I would really love to just actually finish this book. I do enjoy Grady Hendrix. I've read so many of his books. He's not like a favorite author necessarily, but I just have so much fun with his concepts, his settings, his characters, that I always end up going back to his books, and I won this, and that was very fun. I did also meet him. I got this signed. He's so cool. He is just the cutest. This is about this wayward girl's house, which is basically where pregnant teens get sent to give birth to their babies while like staying away from their family, and like so that they can keep it a secret and the babies can be adopted from there. So our main character is a pregnant teenager. She gets sent to this house, but there's some weird witchy magic going on. I did enjoy what I've read of the book so far, but I just haven't been in that kind of mystical, magical mood. Hopefully I will finish that. Okay, I actually have one more book. Sorry. I'm just gonna breeze past it. That's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Of course, the classic, the iconic classic. I just would really like to get into more classics, and I've just obviously heard this is great. And with me reading Picture of Dorian Gray now, I would like to just read some more classics. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's it for the physical TBR section. Next, let's get into the books I do not own. I'm gonna try to go through it a little quickly. But first we have Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. This is a book that I'm a little actually skeptical about the more I think about it, but it's supposed to be a little bit of a dark-ish academia fantasy setting. Yeah, that's really the main thing I know. I don't really know the plot of this book. I've recently seen it being compared to Babel by R.F. Kuang, and I did not really love Babel. I ended up DNFing it like about 75% of the way through it. I was enjoying it in the beginning. As it went on, I just wasn't really connecting with the characters or with the storytelling itself. I think I could have a better shot of liking Blood Over Brighthaven because I believe there's also more of the fantasy element, and M.L. Wang is not R.F. Kuang, so the writing will be different. I've never read anything by M.L. Wang, so her writing might work a little more for me than R.F. Kuang's does, but that's really the main thing I know. I think there's like something to do with like typewriters and the magic. I don't know. Actually, don't ask me that. I am just intrigued to try it out. Next, I also have Hot Wax by Emil Rio. This is the author of If We Were Villains. This is her new release. I actually got an e-galley of it from NetGalley, and I've read about 40% of it. I need to pick it back up. Like, you guys are seeing my issues, my inability to finish books. It is very different from If We Were Villains. It's also not necessarily specifically a fall type book, but it just came out like a week ago. It's ML Rio. I am enjoying it. Can't say I'm loving it, but I do like ML Rio's writing, and I'm intrigued by the story. I like certain parts of it. It jumps around in time throughout the book, and I think I like the past timeline a little more than I enjoy the present timeline chapters, but I would like to finish it and wrap it up, see how I fully feel about it. Next, I'd like to read Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. This is a fiction book, I believe. I don't think it's nonfiction. About the like Ted Bundy murders, and I think about the victims in particular, but specifically the Black women who were affected by Ted Bundy, and their stories that were like not really told or ignored because people like to idolize and glamorize Ted Bundy as a hot serial killer. I didn't really know what this book was about for a while. I just recently actually found out what it was about. I don't think the book itself mentions Ted Bundy's name, but that is what the setting is. And so it has that kind of like thriller aspect to it, but it also provides a lot of commentary on true crime, I believe, and the race elements of the Ted Bundy murders. So I'm really intrigued to see how I feel about this book. I think it provides a lot of commentary on the police and how they, Felix is messing with my tripod. Anyway, how they ignored people trying to like provide evidence, and they just kind of brushed past Ted Bundy as a possible suspect because of who he was as a white man. But next I would like to read Monstrilio by Gerardo Samano Cordova. I've never really known his name. This sounds really interesting to me. Mainly people's perception of the book, or the reception to the book is what has been intriguing me, because a lot of people have been loving it. I think this is also a little bit more of a literary horror, but it is about a mother whose son dies, and she has a piece of his lung or something, and the piece of him starts growing into some kind of creature. It's supposed to touch on and talk a lot about grief. I love the cover of it. I'm very intrigued by this little gremlin. You know, I just really want to give this book a shot and see how I feel about it. Next, I would also like to read Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've been wanting to read a book by her for so long. I read a short story of hers in one of my classes a few years ago, but I really want to read something of hers, and specifically Mexican Gothic. I don't fully know the premise, but I'm using this cover, not the American cover. This cover is so gorgeously stunning. This has been kind of making me want to read the book more recently, but I've wanted to read it for a while. I just think the kind of haunted house setting would be really fun. Like I said, I don't actually fully know the premise, so I'm not gonna be able to give that to you. Besides, like, our main character goes to this house because some family member dies or some family member needs her. I don't fully know. And it's like a haunted house kind of story. So I'm just really interested to see where Silvia Moreno goes with that story. Silvia Moreno Garcia. Next, I also would like to read Rebecca. This list is a little long, isn't it? Okay, I think this list is getting a little bit long, so let's actually speed run. Next, I have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, I believe is her name. Another classic. I've been intrigued to like try out this story. It's about a woman who gets married to this man, and there's some suspicious things with his past wife. That's it. I've just heard it's very great. It's also supposed to be creepy, eerie, gothic, spooky. I don't really know if gothic's the right term, but I've wanted to read it for a while, and I think like fall time would be a good time to try and pick it up. Now that we're done with those, I feel like I'm running a marathon, honestly. I'm actually gonna speed run through these, but these are the new releases that are coming out this fall. Starting off with The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand. This one I'm reading. There's no way around it. I just need to get it from the library because I'm not getting a hardcover, but this is Ellen Hildebrand's new release, obviously. She is no longer writing books on Nantucket. I have my little Ellen Hildebrand shelf up there. You can't really see it, but she's no longer writing books set on Nantucket. This book is set in New England at a boarding school during the beginning of the year, so literally set in the fall. It fully gives fall vibes. I am so excited for this. I love a boarding school setting, and I'm just so excited to see or read something of Ellen's that is not summer centric, because I love her writing, and I'm excited to see what she does with a fall setting book. It's supposed to be filled with drama, gossip, just everything you would want from a boarding school fall setting book. This is also in collaboration with her daughter, which I find very interesting, but I will not get into that right now. Next, of course, Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is the sequel to Bride. I read Bride on release, loved it. I do enjoy myself some Ali Hazelwood. She's up there. Very interested to see where this story is going. When I read Bride and the way it ended, I was like, there's gotta be a sequel. This has gotta be a cute little paranormal romance, standalone romance series, whatever. And I'm so excited to see where this goes. I haven't really read anything about it. I just know I'm gonna pick it up. And I remember that it's about the main character from Bride's best friend, who is, I guess it's kind of a spoiler for Bride, so maybe I won't say. But it's a paranormal romance because there's like werewolves and stuff and vampires in it. Mate will be read at some point, probably around release date. But next I have Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. I am intrigued by this one because this is her adult debut. A lot of these YA girlies are moving into adult books. I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, really enjoyed it, loved it. I've not read Carval. I tried reading the first book and I couldn't get into it, so I'm just like kind of not, series is not really for me. But this sounds also very intriguing to me. It's very much magic in a school. It's an academia kind of setting. You can see where my mind is during the fall. That's really what I know. It's a bit about like some corrupt stuff going on within the school, I believe. Alchemy, of course, and magic, and that's the main thing that I know. I think there's kind of like an old Hollywood vibe to it, I think, as well, but I don't really know where it's set, who's in it, all of that good stuff, but I will be picking it up and giving it a shot. And the last book that we're ending this on is very interesting because it's kind of one that I don't actually know that I will pick up, but I am so intrigued by it, and that is Alchemized by Senlin Yu. If you don't know, this book is based off of a Hermione fanfic called Manacled, which I have not read. I have been debating if I want to try reading the fanfic first or reading the book first and judging it on its own, but my best friend who has read Manacled loved it, even though it is supposed to be like traumatizing. She wants me to read Manacled first, but then that means I would be reading double the amount of pages. This book, Alchemized, is 1,000 pages, and that's definitely cut down. I would say it's definitely cut down from the original source material, but they had to go back and like put in world building. This phenomenon is just so intriguing to me, and I might read it. We'll see what happens, but that will take up a big chunk of my time for sure, that I know. I also kind of actually hate this cover, I do have to be honest. I'm too intrigued. This book is huge. Obviously the fanfic was huge, so that already has like a built-in fan base, but this book just got a 7-figure movie deal and it's not even out yet. When things like that happen, one, I'm very suspicious of stuff like that happening because I'm like, I just don't trust that this is gonna be that good. Not the book, the movie mainly, but I am so, like, I am here. Like, I was here when like 50 Shades got adapted, and that was very much like people knew it was a Twilight fanfic, but this is like this, like I'm actually in it, watching it unfold before my eyes. The hype of Manacled turning into a book deal, turning into a movie deal. Like, this might actually become what all of those past huge book to movie adaptations were. This might do it. I don't know, but I gotta know. I gotta see what's going on there. So that actually concludes my fall, not TBR, but the books I will be picking from this fall, the books that I will be trying to choose from, and I do not believe I'll be reading all of these because it's way too many books. Let me know if any of these books are on your radar for this fall as well. Let me know if you've read any of these and if you like particularly recommend them for me, or if there are any that you don't think I would like, that you just like want to turn me away from. Let me know. Give me a heads up. And then let me know what you have on your TBR. This is the time to be chatting about what we're all reading, you know? Thank you guys so much for watching. I know I've been gone for a while, hoping to pick back up in my videos again. I'm excited to be back, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.